A long time ago, in a peaceful forest, Gautam Buddha and his disciples traveled from village to village, spreading wisdom and kindness. One day, as they were walking through a dense forest, some villagers ran up to them. "Oh, great sage, please help us. A dangerous snake lives near our village. It bites anyone who comes near, and we all live in fear," they said. Buddha asked, "Where does this snake live? Take me there." The villagers led him to the snake's hole near a big banyan tree. The moment they arrived, the ground shook slightly, and the huge snake slithered out. It hissed loudly and showed its sharp fangs, ready to strike. But Buddha did not move. He simply looked at the snake with kindness. The snake was surprised. No one ever had stood in front of him without fear. "Why are you not afraid of me?" the snake asked in a deep voice. Buddha replied gently, "Because I see no reason to fear you. But why do you cause fear in others? Why do you bite the villagers?" The snake quailed and said, "I must protect myself. If I do not show my power, people will harm me. They throw stones at me and try to chase me away." Buddha smiled and said, "My dear friend, strength does not come from hurting others. If you show love instead of anger, people will not hate you. Try to live with peace and kindness." The snake said, "I had never thought about this before." Buddha's words felt warm and comforting. The snake lowered its hood and said, "I will do as you say, great sage. I will never bite anyone again." Gautam Buddha blessed the snake and left. The villagers, though still afraid, trusted Buddha's words and returned to their village. Days passed and the snake kept its promise. It stopped hissing, stopped biting, and lay quietly under the banyan tree. At first, the villagers were happy, but soon they saw that the snake no longer attacked them. So they became bold. Some mischievous boys started throwing stones at it. The snake, remembering Buddha's teachings, did not react. It remained silent and did not bite anyone. Over time, it became weak. One day, Buddha happened to pass by the village again and looked for the snake. When he found it, he was shocked. The once mighty snake was now thin, covered in wounds and barely moving. "My dear friend, what happened to you?" Buddha asked with concern. The snake lifted its head weakly and said, "Oh, great sage, I did as you told me. I stopped biting. I stopped showing anger, and now the villagers beat me every day. I am suffering." Buddha smiled gently and said, "My dear friend, I told you not to bite, but I did not tell you not to hiss." The snake's eyes widened in realization. Buddha continued, "There is a difference between harming others and protecting yourself. You must show your strength when needed, but never with cruelty. If someone tries to harm you, raise your hood and hiss to scare them away. That way, they will respect you without you hurting them." The snake understood the lesson. From that day on, it never bit anyone, but whenever someone tried to harm it, it raised its hood and hissed loudly. The villagers learned to respect it, and they no longer troubled it. Moral of the story: kindness does not mean weakness. We should not harm others, but we must also protect ourselves from harm. Being gentle does not mean allowing others to mistreat us. Stand up for yourself without violence, just like the snake learned to do. One day, Buddha and his disciple Ananda were traveling through a forest. The sun was high in the sky, and they were feeling tired after walking for hours. As they walked, they came across a river. The water was muddy and filled with dirt. Still, they stepped into the water and carefully made their way across. After some time, they found a big tree and decided to rest under its shade. The wind was cool and they felt at peace. Buddha sat in deep meditation while Ananda sat beside him, watching the surroundings. Soon, Buddha opened his eyes and looked at Ananda with a gentle smile. Ananda, can you please bring me some drinking water? I am very thirsty. Gautam Buddha asked softly. Ananda got up immediately and started looking for a clean source of water. He walked through the forest but could not find a clear stream or a pond. After searching for a long time, he returned to Buddha empty-handed. Buddha looked at him and asked, Ananda, why did you not bring me any water? Ananda replied respectfully, I could not find clean water. I searched everywhere, but I did not find a clear stream or pond. Buddha then asked, what about the river we crossed earlier? Ananda hesitated and said, the water in that river was muddy. It is not drinkable. I did not go there because the water was dirty. I will search further and bring water from somewhere else. Buddha shook his head and said gently, no, Ananda, I want you to bring water from that river only. Please go back and bring some water. Ananda was surprised. He hesitated and said, the river water is not clean. It is full of mud. How can I bring that for you? Let me find a better source. But Buddha insisted, go back to the same river, Ananda. Trust me and bring water from there. Ananda was reluctant. He wanted to argue but remained respectful. With a polite bow, he said, I do not understand. Why do you ask for water from a muddy river when we know it is not drinkable? Buddha just smiled and said, go, Ananda, you will understand. Feeling unsure but trusting Gautam Buddha, Ananda made his way back to the river. When he reached there, he was surprised. The water, which was muddy before, was now completely clear. He could see the pebbles and fish at the bottom. The dirt had settled and the river was calm. Ananda filled his pot with the clean water and walked back to Buddha. The water is clear now. It was so muddy before. How did you know it would become clear? Buddha took the pot, drank some water, and looked at Ananda with his wise, peaceful eyes. Ananda, when we crossed the river earlier, many people and bullock carts passed before us. Their movement disturbed the river bed, making the water muddy. But with time, the mud settled and the water became clear again. He continued, this is how our mind works too. When we are full of thoughts, emotions, and worries, our mind becomes disturbed like the muddy water. We cannot see clearly or make wise decisions. But if we wait patiently and let our thoughts settle, our mind becomes clear and we can see the truth, just like the river water. Ananda's eyes widened with understanding. He folded his hands and bowed to Buddha. Now I understand. Our mind is like the river. If we remain patient and let our thoughts settle, we can make better choices and see things more clearly. Buddha smiled and said, "Yes, Ananda. So, whenever you feel confused, anxious, or upset, do not rush to make decisions. Let your thoughts settle and clarity will come on its own." Ananda felt a deep sense of peace and wisdom. He realized the importance of patience and a calm mind. From that day on, he always remembered this lesson and practiced it in his daily life. Moral of the story: just as we cannot draw clean water from a muddy river, a restless mind filled with negativity cannot produce wise thoughts. When the mind is calm and our thoughts settle, clarity and wisdom flow naturally, and we can see the truth clearly.